Hello everybody, so today you join us in the fodder beet field, or what will be this year's fodder beet field. So as you can see, it's been ploughed, it's been worked, it's been power harrowed to get a seed bed. We have got a lovely seed bed. Now usually you would think this time of year, 25th of April today, 25th of April, usually when we've got a seed bed as good as this, we would be looking at drilling. But if you've watched videos, drilling videos in the last couple of years, or the last two drilling videos that we've done, I've always said we were concerned about the leatherjacket situation in the field. So if you don't know, leatherjackets are a soil-borne or soil-living pest. They are the larvae stage of the crane fly. So they get laid, the eggs get laid into grassland in the autumn, they hatch out, they spend the winter feeding on roots of grass, or grassland roots. So they grow into like a grub, a legless caterpillary type thing. We'll have a look at a few in a minute. So they feed off of the roots of the established grassland they're laid into. In a field, in an established field, you don't notice the problem. They will be feeding on the roots. But an established grass plant has enough roots, it can afford to lose a few, and we don't notice the problem. The problem comes in the spring when we plough it out, potentially to plant any crop, doesn't matter what crop we would put into this field. As soon as new roots emerge from the seeds, the leatherjackets would eat them straight away. And a growing plant, or a fresh new plant with new roots, doesn't have enough reserves to cope. Basically, chew the roots off of a new seed, of any variety, doesn't matter what it is, it will die. So this year seems to be particularly bad. We'll have a look in a minute, we'll find some. I'm sure it's no bother to find any because we've been out here before and discovered what a problem we have got. So let's just take a look. Okay, so we don't usually have to look too far. There we go, look. When you can find them as easy as this. They say, okay, so there's one. They say if you can find leatherjackets easily, you've got a problem. We just found that one quite easily. Oh, here we are. Look, where are we to? Another one. So we could do that anywhere on this field. There we are. See how easily we can find them. So that is what we're hunting for today. That is our problem. You can see there's plenty of moisture. We could drill into this. Seed would be down into this moisture. It's just far too great a risk to risk planting in to this. Everything would get eaten. We're far worse than we have been at least the last 2 years when we've been filming this. And I've been saying about potentially we could have problems with leatherjackets this year. You could nearly guarantee that this crop would fail if we planted into this. See another one here. It wouldn't fail, it would grow and get eaten basically. So that's our problem. So there you go. Quite a severe problem. So what can we do about it? There used to be chemicals available, either as a spray or as a seed treatment to put on the seed you plant, that would protect the growing crop. That chemicals have now been withdrawn. We can't do anything. There is no chemical control for this problem. So we've got two ways of going about this. This field has actually been power harrowed twice. Last week it only needed one pass to get the seed bed. We actually went over it a second time to stir it and get birds to eat them. We're as old-fashioned as trying to feed some birds, because every time the power harrow goes through and disturbs the soil, stirs it up, it brings more to the surface, and then gulls and rooks and buzzards come and eat them. So we did that last week. So that's one option we've got, is to get them out. The second option is to make use of the life cycle of the grubs, whereby it's not exact, but kind of at the end of April they form into their next life stage, where they go into a chrysalis and basically stop eating, and they kind of sit there dormant, converting into a crane fly, a daddy long legs, and then they pop out in September. So end of April, we're not far away from that yet, but we're wondering, you know, it's been cold. We have had cold, frosty nights for a good 2 weeks, and that potentially has held back that life cycle. So you know, the end of April could come and they could still be active. So we're going to end up drilling the beat in May, which is no problem. You know, we've drilled in May before, we've drilled in June before, years ago. So drilling in May, it's not an issue. We won't suffer a great deal of crop or reduction in crop, obviously because we've got a late harvest. You know, beet harvest is October at the earliest. So planting a little bit late, it's not a problem. We're happy to do it. The soil will be warmer as long as we've got some moisture in the seed bed. Planting in mid-May wouldn't be the end of the world. It would be warm, you know, the seed would be up and away, which is what we need. So what we're going to do today, we're actually going to do another, not going to cultivate the field again, we're going to harrow the field again. So what we're going to do, we're going to go very proper old-fashioned. We have got a 35 out. We're not Vintage Thursday today, we are just a general regular video, but we're going to use a vintage tractor just because, you know, it's fun. What we're going to do, we're going to delve into the storage shed of old machinery, which is just here, and we've got some proper, probably horse-drawn era harrows. So we're going to get these out, set them up, and just harrow the field. What that will do, same as power harrowing, it's going to stir the soil, bring up fresh leather jackets, and over behind me you can see some rooks, hopefully cameras. The GoPro's not the best camera for picking this up, but those trees, in the tops of those trees, just before the leaves have come out, we can see there is what they call a rookery, loads of rooks' nests up in the top of those oak trees. You can see them flying around. So hopefully when we get going, they're all going to tell their mates, look, he's over there stirring up again, we can go and have a feast. Now, I know it's not the best idea to encourage dozens of birds to come flying around when we don't have a cab on the tractor, but it's a risk we're going to take. Right, so let's get the harrows out of storage, set them up on the back, and basically just run over quickly, nice and cheap. You know, because power harrowing is a bit slow, costs money. This runs on TVO. So we'll talk about the tractor at the end, I expect. Right, let's get the harrows out. We go all set up now. So chain onto the drawer, the pickup hitch, just to the bar, chain onto each harrow section, longer one in the middle because that one trails a little bit behind. Very old fashioned. So this is seed harrows. What years ago they would have broadcast the seed, gone over with this just to cover the seed over. So we're just tickling the top inch or so of the soil. So let's get going. Okay, so there we go. Bird numbers turning up. Was a little bit disappointing, I have to say. There was a good lot of rooks over there. We just finished off the still over the far side. They were kind of following me across. Not a single seagull or gull, because we're nowhere near the sea, and no buzzards. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed with the amount of bird activity, but there we are. Not a lot we can do. So the 60-year-old tractor, or what are they, probably 80-year-old harrows, did the job. Just tickled the surface. So we said at the start we'd talk a little bit about the tractor. You're going to hear it still running. So 1958, Massey Ferguson 35 TVO. The slightly annoying thing about TVO, or one of its downfalls, you cannot start and stop the tractor at will like you can with the diesel. It's got to be hot. So you start the engine on petrol. When he gets up to working temperature, you switch over to TVO. If I was to stop that now, because he's running on TVO, and I talk to the camera for a couple of minutes, it would cool down and it wouldn't start. What you've got to do is turn back to petrol briefly for a minute or two, let the petrol run through the system, and then it would start again. So you can easily see why diesel kind of so quickly took over from TVO back in the 50s and the 60s. So we brought you the sights and the sounds of 1958, really. Unfortunately, we can't bring you the smell. The TVO exhaust fumes do have an aroma all of their own. Once you smell it, you kind of never forget it. But at the minute, YouTube doesn't allow me to bring you that. Yeah, so you'll have to find that elsewhere. I think that'll bring us to the end of today's video. We're certainly not finished with this leatherjacket battle. So stay tuned to see how we actually get on throughout the year. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.